So who am I? I was always really curious with who my professors were, and instructors, sorry, kind of work they do, and how did they get here? So my name is Ben Rankin. I was raised in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I attended Citadel High School. And I've always really been interested in sort of like products, fashion, and clothes. But I had never really thought that that was a legitimate career to be sort of like interested in these kind of things, right? So I attended Dalhousie University for a year, and I was in the Faculty of Arts, and I tried almost like everything that they had, from journalism to psychology, all these kind of things. Psychology was actually really interesting, but it's very much tied into design. But nothing really stuck with me, and I wasn't very happy. But at the same time, I started really making my own clothes and developed other creative outlets. That's when I sort of realized that I had a passion for design, and realized that it was a possibility for me to kind of go into it. And so I started looking at programs all throughout North America. But most of what I found were sort of specialized programs. So as in a degree in graphic design, architecture, or industrial design. And there's nothing that was really more focused on multiple things. It was very much put into categories. And I found all of these subjects extremely interesting, but I really just didn't want to do one. I wanted to kind of do them all. So then I found the interdisciplinary design program here at NSCAD University and really fell in love with the course description. And it felt like all the stars had aligned. And so I got into that program, and I just graduated into the weirdest year and scariest year I think that I've ever been alive. So I graduated about a month ago. And the program had a major focus on strategies in the process of design, along with the execution. And we primarily worked within sort of user experience design, communication, so graphic design once again, product, identity, and interface design. And while in the program, I had the pleasure with working with several companies, both local, international, I was also able to do multiple internships over the summers. One was at a microbrewery who were looking to expand their reach and expand their products. So while I was with the company, I helped design their packaging, labels, merchandise, and almost anything from posters to any other print design material they needed, with that overarching goal of expanding their products across Ontario and Manitoba. So while I was with them, I also aided in their expansion strategy and overall sort of branding. And so now they went from one location to 3 different pubs and breweries, which is super cool. I also did an internship at Cossette, which is one of the top agencies, or advertising agencies, in Canada and North America. And so I worked as a creative intern there, while I was sort of part of creating the ideas, but also developing the ideas as well, producing them. And worked on campaigns for companies like McDonald's, O'Regan's, McKillen Properties, Nova Scotia Gaming Corporation. Unfortunately, due to copyright stuff, I can't really show you any of the projects I worked on during these internships, but I'll go over some of the freelance and school projects I've done before. So first up, here's a brand identity project that I just wrapped up for a company called Discovery Center International. Those of you from Halifax in Nova Scotia may be familiar with the Discovery Center. It's a small-scale science center in Halifax. And right now they're going corporate, offering 4 different services, mainly around development. So using the circle that's found all throughout the Discovery Center's physical location and their science center brand identity, it's kind of based on using that circle as a metaphor, then breaking the circle up and showing the 4 main parts of the Discovery Center, which is their new services, and rearranging that into a new shape. So here's some business cards. I also designed a website, and so here's a shot of the mobile version, and a print advertising campaign concept. So this is Sona. Sona is a conceptual fine dining restaurant with a sustainable approach to fine dining. They forage and source locally grown ingredients and celebrate and redefine Nova Scotian contemporary cuisine, offering a unique dining experience. Sona directly translates to happy in Gaelic, the historic Scottish and Irish language spoken throughout the Cape Breton Highlands and parts of Nova Scotia. I created an intricate brand identity system based on themes of sustainability and craft that involves a logo, menu, some signage, and stationery design. And here's part of their uniform, which is the main shot there. And then we're going into the interior of the space, and then there's the menu. And here's a packaging design project for Cafe Marco Polo, which is a cafe located in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. They wanted packaging design for 3 different coffee blends that they were roasting that incorporated their logo, but in a reimagined format. So saying coffee Marco Polo instead of cafe. And yeah, so here are the 3 different packages. And now onto the school projects. So this first one was a project from a class called Design for Cultural Revitalization. And in this class, we worked side by side with the Nova Scotia Office of Gaelic Affairs, and we deeply examined and outlined the user experience of the many ways to reach Gaelic language fluency. So each student then redesigned a booklet that outlined our research and the multiple paths to fluency, and this is mine here. So you can see the cover, and then um, there's one of the spreads kind of going over the history and the different Gaelic regions of Nova Scotia. And then this is probably my favorite class project. In one of my studio classes, we worked with Northwood Assisted Living, where we were able to work closely with residents to design a product that improved their quality of life. We ended up actually redesigning their elevator system, which really turned into an accessible and inclusive design product and project that stemmed from the issue that the majority of the residents couldn't press the elevator buttons, and that really severely impacted their lives and overall independence. A lot of residents had to wait like 30 minutes for someone to come by to press the button for them. So we did 2 really big things here. First, as you can kind of see that black interface in the illustration, um, we redesigned the calling system so you can call it by voice. You can call it by eyesight as well. We found a software that tracks your pupils, and so you can control the interface with your eyes, and then also by touch. And then the second big thing that we did was the elevators are really, really slow because the majority of their population that were using the elevators were in sort of wheelchairs or had mobility issues and everything. Um, so whenever someone would stop on a floor with their old elevator system, if one person was getting out, most people had to get out unless they're at the very front, which is usually unlikely. And then so everyone would have to get back in, and this is kind of a process that would take a couple minutes. So then we increased the door size, and then also made the doors open on both sides there. And then this was my first design project ever. It was in a product design class, and it was in my first year in the design program. And it is a hook that you just put on the wall, and you can hang 2 things on it, or more than that. But it's kind of like a geometric reimagined hook. And yeah, that's me. And thank you very much for listening.